clicked the button and
All
it
right.
says we're live.
Okay. Well, happy Monday, people. We always look forward to these, don't we? Mondays are everybody's favorite day. But anyways, today, no live interviews, no tours, no nothing. We're going to do a little bit of Q&A is the plan today. Adjust some comments, questions that we've gotten on other videos or via email or any of our other media channels and access points. Yeah, while we wait for a couple more people to pop in here, let's talk about the new website for a minute. It is awesome. Been a couple little hiccups, but nothing out of control, basically. So we're looking at all your data is there. Everything's cool. The only thing you got to do is go into your email, look for the reactivation link, and click that link, and that'll just basically have you create a new password, and you'll have access to the new site and all its good features. All your old orders should be there. Everything you've ever had with Needlejig has been moved over there and saved. The only thing that isn't there is a password. So, and you cannot use the forgot password link because it's a new system. It needs account activation. If you're not finding the email to activate your account, just give one of us guys a call and we will go into the back end. We will resend that account invitation and you will be up and running before you know it. But okay, whole different discussion. No, the new site's awesome. Check it out. Give us your feedback. Let us know what you think. You know, do you like it better than the old site, worse than the old site? I know change is hard for a lot of people, but the amount of things we're going to be able to administer to make your shopping experience easier it's going to be overwhelming after a while. A lot more automation, just streamlined, more modern, blah blah blah. Improvements. That's what it is in short. So that's where we're at. Okay, so hopefully we got a few people out there watching by now, and I want to say thank you if you are watching, if you have watched. I appreciate that. The channel is starting to gain a little ground now. You know, we're getting more subscribers, a few more people tuning in on a regular basis, which is awesome. I'm grateful. Thank you so much. I will ask you though, if you could just take a minute to hit the little like button, subscribe if you like what I'm doing, and those little things that's basically free on your part, they make a huge difference when it comes down to what YouTube allows to be shown to other people. So if you think this is worth viewing, which I think you do or you wouldn't be watching, please do me a big favor, click the like button, because that will tell YouTube that people do enjoy this and it will help them share it with more people and we can keep growing our community. So, all right, that's my sales pitch, my begging, whatever you want to refer to it as, but I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Today, we are basically going to be addressing questions, comments, things like that. I do like going through the comments. I try to look at them all, comment, respond when I can. Sometimes I get behind on that, but I do it as I find some time. Seeing old friends from school, you know, Dina, Craig, just a few others out there, whatever, just you know, see the people, some people I haven't even talked to in decades, and they're tuning in. That's kind of cool. New friends, tattooers. It's awesome. It's a little overwhelming actually, but I do appreciate it. And okay, enough with the groveling. Let's get down to some business here and talking about these people. Let's see what some of them had to say here. So we get comments all over the board on a regular basis. One of the first ones I actually want to talk about pertaining to the times we're in right now is tattoo conventions. People are asking, you know, good friend and customer, Jonah Osgood out there. You know, he piped in on one of the videos. He's like, hey, thanks for talking with us, Mark. Hope to see you again in the future at a convention. You know, it's I miss you guys. I miss all of you. Conventions they're going to come back. They will be back, maybe a little longer. They're going to be different. Some of the changes we're not going to like. Some of the changes maybe should have been part of the original format. Who knows? I don't want to get too much into, you know, the reality, science fiction, whatever. I deal with facts. I deal with science. I deal with math. That's I have an engineer's mindset. Scientists, I think like a scientist. So I'm going to go with the fact that there's germs out there, and it's in our best interest to avoid them or destroy them whenever possible. My tattoo shop was generally cleaner than most dental offices, a lot of doctors' offices I've been in. I'm very, very anal about my work area, my shop atmosphere, things like that. And to be honest with you, I've always found tattoo conventions to be not quite up to par in my book. Given we've always done the best we could with what we had, considering the circumstances. But for the most part, you know, everything could use improvement somewhere along the way. So I think that this has opened up a lot of people's eyes, probably made a lot of people a little more aware of cross-contamination, disease control, and that's a good thing. I mean, you're going to see people tattooing with masks for a very long time after this, if not forever. May become mandated in certain areas, who knows? But I don't think it's a bad thing. It may be a little over precautious in some places, but you know what? It's kind of better to be safe than sorry in an awful lot of areas. So that's my take on that. We will get back to conventions. They will be run different. I do talk to some promoters. We discuss things, what might be different ways to address things moving forward and whatnot. And everybody's working on it, working hard at getting back to the grind, back to the social aspect of it. I mean, it's not just about business and profits and things like that. It's the camaraderie within our community is awesome. Never experienced that anywhere in my life. I mean, even unfortunately, I come from a massive family, and there's no way to maintain constant communication, and it's just, it's overwhelming. The amount of effort that the community puts into staying in contact with each other, and the love we share, and the helping hands that we extend to each other is it's the biggest, best family I've ever experienced in my life, and I want it to get back to normal. So rambling on about that. Sorry, but it gives me the feels. Let's say I miss you all. So yeah, tattoo conventions, they will be back. I'm not overly excited to get to them until, you know, maybe 50% of the population's been vaccinated, including myself. Yes, I'm going to get the vaccine when it becomes available to me. I'm not going to get into the conspiracies on the extreme on this end or the extreme on that end. I'm in the middle, man. I'm sort of commonsensical, as I think most people are, and that's where I intend to remain. So yeah, I'm going to get the vaccine and hopefully get back to work and as much normalcy as we can as soon as possible. But I'm not looking to rush out there and do anything hasty that may jeopardize the health of others when it's not necessary. So, all right, let's get on to something else here. So let me scroll down my list here. Okay, well, I guess it's somewhat related. It's about cross-contamination, disease control, and all that other fun stuff. But people have been asking about cartridges, differences between, say, the O-ring cartridges or rubber band cartridges versus the membrane cartridges, and then there's even the spring-loaded cartridges out there. And honestly can tell you that they're all relatively the same. Each has advantages, each has disadvantages. The membranes obviously are a little bit superior to the other two because it's essentially a condom. It's it creates that specific barrier. But we all know condoms fail at times too now, don't we? So therefore we can't rely on that 1,000%. So the membranes do add a certain layer of protection that you don't find with the O-ring or rubber band cartridges or the spring cartridges. But I have to also say that I have only a very, very, very few isolated incidents in extreme rarities have I seen non-membrane cartridges leak to a point where it's created a real mess, or actually maybe even created an issue with the working components of the machine. And that just has to do with simple physics, okay? If you have your cartridge loaded with an excessive amount of ink, and for some reason you happen to be tattooing in sort of an upside down position, holding your machine backwards, gravity is going to do its thing, and the ink can migrate to the back of the cartridge, maybe around the seal or through the openings for tolerance there that could allow some ink back through. But when tattooing in most normal circumstances and your machine is in a relatively upright position, slightly angled or whatnot, it's pretty damn hard for the ink to defy gravity. Even if it was spittering or sputtering inside of the cartridge, it's very difficult for that to shoot as a projectile backwards in an upwards fashion, managed to get through those tiny little crevices around that guide pin and the clearance around the cartridge housing itself, in any quantity whatsoever, to make a real mess in your machine. So yes, it can happen. You can get some backflow, as they refer to it. But it's going to be minuscule. Like I said, unless you're tattooing upside down, it should not happen. If it does happen, please let me know exactly how you did it. I'd love to replicate that. I'd love to perform little experiments and see what's going on. But yeah, so that's that. But here's the truth about cartridges, as I've seen them from the very beginning, is the real hazard doesn't necessarily come from the membrane, the non-membrane, the spring, the backflow. The real hazard with cartridges is the fact that people handle them. They don't handle them by the front housing only. Let me see. I have one in a desk drawer here. But so I happen to have a grip here too. Awesome. So you've got a cartridge, okay? It's not going to focus on it, but and you have a tube. If people could, in essence, handle their cartridges essentially from the front only, put them in a safe area where the back isn't coming in contact with anything. But if you're putting it on your work surface, that's a contaminated area. It could be a clean section of your contaminated area, but I view my work surface, once I start tattooing, once I've broken the skin, everything on my work surface is viewed as contaminated. That's just the way it is. I don't have a section that I consider to be my safe zone or whatever. I would rather be overly cautionary, and the entire surface, everything on the surface is either disposable or needs to be sanitized or sterilized at the end of the tattoo. So you set your cartridge down. If you're not handling your cartridge by the front end only, at any point you touch the back end of the cartridge, you pick it up. A lot of guys like to soak their cartridges into cups of water to keep the ink from drying, and obviously that makes sense. But if you're handling it by the back side with a contaminated glove, as soon as you take that cartridge and you deposit it back into the grip or the machine or whatever it is, the inside of your grip or your machine is contaminated. It's that simple. There's no way around that. People that wrap a bag and poke a hole in the bag, you just poked a hole in your condom. Okay, it's counterintuitive. So now you're taking a contaminated part and you're pushing it through the hole in the protective barrier. And either way, your grip, your machine, it's contaminated. So if you're not using a grip that can be completely broken down, cleaned, ultrasonic cleaned, autoclaved, cold sterilant, whatever your jam is, just has to be taken care of. The grip on your pen, and then the protection of the pen versus the grip of the pen. That's a whole different level of science there. But basically, don't hold your cartridges from the backside with a bloody glove. It's just do your best to hold them from the front. It's not perfect system, but at the same time, it's just another step. It's another precaution. I'm sure I'm going to get some hate comments down there. People that are way smarter than me going to tell me that they have systems in place that do not allow contamination, and if so, please share them with me. I'd love to see them. We all want to improve our industry. We all want to improve the business and make our clients safer and protect ourselves. We're the ones that are tattooing in an environment for 8, 10, 12 hours a day, whatever it is that you work. Your customers are there for a couple of hours at a time. The people that are vulnerable are the employees, the tattooers, the front help, the people that are in that contained environment for extended period of time. We want that to be safer for everybody. So that's my quick take, be honest with you, on cartridges. We can have further discussions about this. Get a hold of me directly, comment below, tell me what you do. If you have great ideas, I would love to share them with people. I have a few things in my mind that, let me take that on a whole different topic, a whole different series, video, something on that later on or whatever. But as far as effectiveness of cartridges, superiority of one over the other, I don't think it's as big as people want to proclaim that it is. Membranes are a little bit better for sure, but that's not what I view as the real potential hazard. The real potential hazard is in the handling of the cartridge, just like all your other tools. You're not going to reach for your power supply with a bloody glove. You're not going to grab your phone with a bloody glove. You're not going to be playing on your iPad with a bloody glove. I mean, it's just how I view things. So yell at me. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me what can be done better. And I'm really interested in seeing your comments and hearing what you have to say on that. I have my opinions, but we all know what opinions are. They're just that, I guess. So let me get off that topic here and move a little farther to something else here. Looks like somebody wanted me to talk more about kind of like my history. Conventions, been around a long time, going to conventions since I think 91 was maybe the first convention that I went to. I want to say, I think it was at the Schenectady Armory in New York. Basically a very, very biker-esque, run show back in the day. I think most of them still were really, and that was called Am Jam. I want to say it was 91, might have been 92, but I think it was 91, Schenectady Armory. That was interesting. I went there, I got tattooed. The room was smoke filled. It was dimly lit. I got tattooed at that show with a homemade machine at a convention. Yes, I know. The guy's name was Tattoo Dave. that piece almost immediately started to fall out after during healing and after healing, and a good friend of mine started to cover up on that years ago. That still is yet to be completed, but you know, so whereas I have aspects of my early career that I love and parts of tattoo conventions that'll never be the same, I think it's improved for the better. Um, they're different is about the best way I can describe them for going to shows for almost 30 years. The older shows were gathering. The camaraderie was awesome. They were a big party. What people were getting tattooed wasn't as important as just the simple fact that they were getting tattooed. People were enjoying the experience, the environment. It, People still do that today. It's just different. It's more competitive today. So now people are going and they're looking to get large scale pieces, or they're looking to get awards, which that's a whole different topic for discussion. I love the idea of contests. I love the idea of awards. Collectors are proud of their tattoos. The tattooer gets a little bit of credit recognition, and that's all awesome. I dislike the contests because you see people doing tattoos that should take 20-30 hours and cranking them out in a one extended long session, either in one day or multiple day sittings, which is really traumatic to the body, the healing system, your immune system. I've seen people get tattooed for 2-3 days straight and then be completely useless for the following week because their system is shot. They immediately get sick when getting home, and that doesn't help the healing process. It doesn't do anything. Yeah, you got some awesome photographs. You might have got a magazine spread. You maybe got a plaque for your wall, but was it really worth it? I don't think so. So tattoo of the day, all that cool stuff. When kept in a certain envelope of achievable without having any negative side effects. Too many people pushing the envelope on that. You can be mad at me for that opinion. That's fine too. I don't really care. Again, they're just my opinions. They're not rules. They're not laws. So I would like everybody's tattoo experience to be an enjoyable tattoo experience. Having an awesome weekend and then being sick for a week afterwards doesn't sound like an awesome experience to me. So I wouldn't subject myself to that. I would never subject my clients to that. And I don't know. It's between you guys though. If you're the tattooer and you're the collector and you want to do that, all the more power to you. I'm not going to try and take that right away from you. I kind of disagree with that to some degree. As far as the question, a little bit about old school values versus new school values. What I love about the old school is the pride and the pride about being a tattooer. Before the world saw it as a dignified profession, we did. We knew what we were doing was more than just decals on skin. A good tattooer is a talented artist. They're a creative thinker. They're open-minded. They're to some degree a counselor to their clients. You get those you get those counseling sessions. People. I've said it for decades now. Is a client will quite often confide in their tattooer more than they will their significant other. I mean, it's scary. It's a responsibility that can't be taken lightly. And there are tattooers that abuse that privilege also, and that's a whole different another discussion that can't be even thought about in a scope of this short live little Q&A. But I love the pride, the fact that I don't want to say we knew we were somebody special, but we did. We knew we were professionals, and we took ourselves seriously. The self-regulation within the business in order to avoid government oversight and things like that, because we knew if we didn't operate in a clean professional manner, then we would be conforming to the stereotypes that they had set for us, and that just simply wasn't the case. So I like that, and what I don't like about the old school mentality is probably the secrets. And by secrets, I don't mean every tattooer is going to have their secrets. Every manufacturer is going to have some secrets, or let's call it proprietary information. But the fact that if you would walk into a tattoo shop back in the day, I've simply been told you better get the bleep out, or I mean, I didn't happen that often, but it definitely happened. People were, I want to say fearful, but to some degree, yeah, fearful. They didn't want competition. Generally, I find that the people that don't want the competition are the people that are not necessarily open to improving themselves, their skill sets, their clients' experience, their shop, their atmosphere, all of that. They want things to remain as they have always been. And I can appreciate that. But at the same time, the world moves on, things progress, equipment gets better. Your clients are going to start to expect more from you, from your services, from your attitude. And that's a good thing. You shouldn't walk into a shop thinking that, if you look the wrong way or you say the wrong thing or whatever, that, you might get your teeth knocked out just because that's, I mean, that's not how business is done. Now if you personally insult somebody or cross the line or something like that, yeah, you deserve to get your teeth knocked in. But for simply asking the wrong questions, or, you hear stories about, somebody's in the middle of a tattoo and somebody starts asking questions about the tattoo process, and some old school tattooers would simply grab a bag and put it over their head so they couldn't see what they were doing. These stories true? Yes, they are. People have done that in the past, and it makes for an awesome story. But I mean, unacceptable this day and age. I mean, if you don't want to answer the questions, don't answer the questions. There was a time when we used to take the labels off the inks in my studio because either we would have large bottles of inks, 16-ounce bottles or bigger bottles of ink in the common area or the sterile area, and everybody would fill blank bottles for their workstation. But we were secretive. We didn't want people coming in and knowing what brand of ink we used. We didn't, the little things like that. There's secrets and then there's not secrets. I mean, this day and age, most things are discussed pretty openly. Any secrets have been let out of the bag for the most part, and there's still arguments whether some of them are even worth knowing or not. Some are myths, some are maybe actualities, and it is just what it is. So yeah, I miss the pride that tattooers took, and I don't miss the stubborn, secretive, competitive, hateful nature. That's where I land on that one. I don't want to turn this into hours long worth of stuff here. Just trying to address a few things, have some fun with you guys on a Monday afternoon. Let me look down the list here. Okay. I'm a little phlegmy today. Bear with me. All right. That'll help. All right. Let's see. Should artists eye loop every needle still in 2021, 2022, the future? The short answer is yes. We work so hard to eliminate the bad needles, but it's going to happen every once in a while. We have, I feel we have one of the best quality control rates going. There's been hiccups. There's been odd batches. There's been flukes. It's going to happen. You cannot produce millions of anything without having the occasional quality control issue. Hopefully it's incredibly minimal. I like to think that you're only going to find a bad needle in every few hundred. That's my goal. You know, I mean, if you find more than a bad needle in every couple hundred or whatever, call me. Then there's a bigger problem that I probably need to address, find out what's going on. But if you're going to call us, please call us with all the information. We want the needle size. We want what product line it is. We want the expiration dates. We need the batch numbers. That's the only way we can thoroughly track a problem, to run down, see if we have any still on the shelves, assess the problem. If there's a problem, if there's a real problem, we'll pull product off the shelf. We're immediately in touch with the factory. We will get replacements. If it's a factory problem, we get it replaced as soon as humanly possible. But that doesn't happen that often, luckily. But back to the question, yes, loop your needles. You always need to loop your needles. I appreciate the trust, but don't, because every single one of us has stuck a bad needle into somebody's skin at some point in time, and the results are horrific. You can see the pulling and the tearing of the flesh, and it's a disgusting thing to have happen. It's more painful. The healing is going to be subjective after that. It's just not worth the effort. It takes a couple seconds. Look at your damn needles. Look at them closely. Don't be overly critical either, though. I will get people that'll be looking at, basically trying to look at their needles with an electron microscope at 200 times magnification, and a mirror, the surface of a mirror looks like the Grand Canyon under enough magnification. And that is not helpful. So, if you can see an issue with a 10, 20, 30 power, 40 power eye loop, it's a problem. You start getting up into super high magnification, it's a non-issue, to be honest with you. We strive for perfection, but there's a certain level where, there has to be an acceptance level, a tolerance level, and something that is not visible, under 200 power magnification or 100 power magnification, come on, let's be real here. So yeah, that's the short answer. Loop your damn needles. I appreciate the trust, but don't do it. Every manufacturer has issues from time to time, and it could be needles, it could be needle points, it can be injection moldings it can be the elastics, it could be the membranes. You got to remember, these things are produced by the millions, and there can always be a little something, but nobody out there, not myself, not any manufacturer, is out there intentionally trying to put a bad product on the market. It makes no sense. Why would anybody do that? And as far as that goes, if you find a quality issue with anything you're using, not just if you find it with us, any of your manufacturers, I can tell you they're going to appreciate it. They're not going to like hearing it, because nobody likes to get those phone calls. But if they're a well-run business, they don't mind getting these calls. They encourage these calls, because I would much rather have somebody call me and catch an issue early before I have shipped out 2,000 boxes of these around the country that I need to work on finding a solution for. If I can find out after only 20 boxes have left the shelf, it's a hell of a lot easier for me problem for me to resolve. So a lot of customers will say, oh, I didn't want to be a pain in the ass, it never happens, so I just didn't think anything of it. No, don't be super nitpicky, but call us if you see something. And we honestly do appreciate it. And I'm going to say I speak for most manufacturers out there when I say that too. So, yeah, you know, you're our eyes and ears. We can't look at every single product. You people do. So, you know, help us out where you can. Okay, what else we got here? Let's see. Tattoo inks, pigments regulations, stuff like that. That's getting to be scary. I'll be honest with you. Europe is banning some stuff that is, at this point in time, there is no valid replacement for. There's a moratorium for the tattooing community to find replacements for a couple of pigments and stuff like that. But right now there is no viable alternative. So what happens next? I don't know. I can't tell you. I can't predict the future. Will the regulatory committees go back, reassess the situation, and allow the use of those pigments? It's entirely possible. Will you lose some colors? It's entirely possible. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm 100% the guy to talk to at this point in time about this. I have more knowledge than most, but I definitely am not one of the absolute insiders. So I can't tell you exactly everything. The last I knew, the tattoo world as a group was hiring lobbyists to go to Washington, work with Washington that, you know, has contacts with your legislatures, and to try and remove as much unnecessary regulation as possible. But at the same time, I kind of do encourage some regulatory oversight, just for the simple fact that, you know, it has to do with the safety of the clients. But we don't want too much regulation, but some regulation is good. So I wish I had more for you on that. I can tell you I'm getting as much information on it as I can due to my own personal projects, but I am not the guy leading that fight. I'm just a peon, like a lot of others. But I'm working on it. If I get more information, I'll try and keep you posted. Okay, what else we got down here? Let's see. Okay. Well, this one here, I plan on, well, I've been planning on, I just got to find the time and energy to do it properly, but I've been planning on putting together a series on needles. That is my area of expertise. I mean, for a long time, I've even, we use the tagline for the company, the Tattoo Needle Experts. I do consider myself an expert in tattoo needles. I've been doing this longer than most. Putting together a short series of videos to try and bring you guys virtually everything I know about tattoo needles. It's not going to be short. It's not going to be sweet. It's a lot. I want to start talking about the various pin sizes, their origin, their advantages and different disadvantages in different tattooing styles. So you got your pin size, which is the diameter, the thickness of the pin. Okay, so this is a standard number 14 pin or 12 pin, excuse me, which is the standard in the industry, is this thickness. Okay, so this would be a number 10 bug pin, and then this here's let's say this one here, that's a bug pin. Okay, number 10 bug pin. This down here is a number 6, so I don't know, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4. They get smaller as the number gets smaller. It's easy enough system to understand. Each has its advantage and disadvantage. The bigger the pin, the bigger the hole, obviously. The bigger the hole, the more trauma, obviously. Then we get into tapers. Okay, you start talking about the shape of the length of the taper is one thing, which is the distance between the very point of the needle and where the needle is at its full diameter. Okay, so then that's the taper length, which is a big discussion. People talk about short tapers, long tapers, medium tapers. Well, there's no such thing. Just so you know, pick up a ruler. I don't see short, medium, long on there anywhere. Tapers are measured in millimeters. It's a physical length that's repeatable, measurable instrument. I know it sounds silly, but it's not, because what I consider to be a medium taper, another company may very well consider to be a long taper, and that's okay. That's the idea of, you know, they're just words. They're just descriptive words, but it's not a unit of measurement. I don't want to say who's right, who's wrong. It's not. It doesn't come down to that. So I try and stick with measurements because it's the same. A millimeter is a millimeter wherever you go. So that's your taper length. Then you got a taper shape. Okay, so you can have a straight conical, you know, linear taper, which is just picture the end of a pencil as it comes out of a pencil sharpener. Okay, you've got the full diameter, you got the point. It's a straight line. National, I believe, used to make, probably still makes a taper like that. Well, awesome taper for color packing. The amount of surface area and that angle as it's entering the skin force a lot of ink into the skin. There's definitely a use for a needle like that out there, and not going to work in all situations. Then you have a sort of a bullet shape. Okay, so you have something that has, it doesn't go from the full diameter to the point. It has a, sort of an arch, kind of a bullet nose, and in that arch can be dramatic, or it can be relatively straight with just a little bit of a bow. That has a bearing on the usefulness of the tattoo needle. So we'll talk about that too. And now you have, there's so many variables. You got the diameter of the pin, you've got the taper length, you've got the taper shape. All this comes down to the amount of surface area on the pins. Okay, so if you have a straight taper, the conical one, okay, the amount of surface area between the full diameter and the point is going to be different than with the arch taper, the bullet taper. There's more surface on the bullet nose taper, and again, it's just the way they tear the skin. Yes, they do puncture and tear the skin. All needles do. All these have dramatic effects on the ink going into the skin, and then and again, this is just getting into the variables of the tattoo needles. Then you're not even talking about the variables of the tattoo ink itself, how finely ground the tattoo pigment is, whether it's coarse, whether it's fine, whether it's somewhere in the middle. What's the carrier? Is it a relatively viscous, thicker ink? Is it a very thin, light ink? More variables. Tattoo machine speeds. Okay, the speed, and then not just the speed, but the impact into the skin. The amount of variables involved in a tattoo are relatively infinite, I'm going to say, and that's why it's so important to find what works best for you. What machines work best for you, what machine speeds work best for you. What is your hand speed? How do you tattoo? What's your needle motion? You're doing small circles and color packing. Are you a black and gray guy? Are you just, you cross hatching with a faster motion? Man, I could talk for days and days and days and still not even break the surface on subjects like this. But back to the topic, I'm working on a larger presentation for needles. It's going to have to be broken down into many shorter videos and trying to address each topic. And then I'm not sure I can even address the way that each of these topics is going to interact with each and every other variable, because I'm not going to live that long. Let's just say that. That's a lot of experimentation you need to do on your own. I can help you with the pros and cons of the individual components, and then you're going to have to decide on how they interrelate and work best for you as you move forward in your careers. So wow. All right, that took a little bit out of me here. I'm feeling a little fatigued. Just my brain is racing on so many things I want to touch on now, and I gotta put an end to it right now, because if not, we're going to be here for days, and it's Monday. I've got a lot of things I've got to do. I'm sure you guys have things you got to do too, rather than sit here and watch me ramble on. So yeah, I want to address that. If there are specific areas that you want to, or you want me to address first, that I might have just touched on here, please list them in the comments, shoot me an email, give us a call, whatever it is, any way you reach out to us, social media, get your questions to us. I'm going to have to read through them, and I will do my best to try and address the ones that have the most requests first, but it's a big subject. And I want to go at it methodically, because that's just how I function. So I'm going to look at if I was going to do it, I would attack it from pin size first. And then I would probably get into taper length, and then I would probably get into taper shape. And then, another thing I didn't touch on either is that when it breaks down to taper length, the length is relevant to a certain point. There's needles out there with 6 millimeter taper length on them. You are not tattooing 6 millimeters deep in somebody. Okay. That is basically a full quarter of an inch. And if you're running that deep, go find another job, man. You don't belong here. But so you have to take into consideration how that taper length changed the usable portion of the needle too. And again, I'm going off on tangents here, because there's just so many things. But please, in the comments, tell me what you want to hear about first. I will do my best to put the efforts in those directions first. If not, I'm probably going to try and approach it systematically, what I view as being the largest topic, and then slowly stair-stepping it down to try and make sense of it. And again, you're going to have to watch them all. You're going to have to watch a few of them multiple times because after I discuss, usable taper length, you may want to revert back and see how that applies to pin size or vice versa. And that's not even getting into tattoo techniques, but yeah, please let me know what you want to talk about. And as always, I truly appreciate each and every one of you. I'm grateful for the fact that for some reason you people want to listen to me. And please take a minute, hit the like button, share these videos, subscribe, let YouTube know that you're interested and that others might be interested too. And that'll just help us get the word out a little farther. So, all right. Thanks again. You guys have a great day, and I will catch you next time. But before I go, I got a couple things coming up. I just want you to maybe put them on your calendar. Next Monday, I'm going to be talking to Joe Anderson, Tattoo Gun Joe. Great guy, man. Very, very, very bold, graffiti, like new school, caricatures. Awesome dude, awesome tattooer. Be talking to him next Monday. And then when I get another one set up here, February 15th, or so next week with Joe's January 25th. February 15th, I'm going to be going back and talking with James Gaithier, who I did an interview with last year at a tattoo convention, early part of the year, full year ago, actually. And we haven't even launched that video yet. So we're going to launch that video live. James is the industry liaison representative for Adina products, the the Shadow gloves, Phantom gloves, Night Angel gloves, some barrier products, sterilization products, all that stuff. But he is our direct link with that company, that CEO. And James is not the CEO, but he's our link to that CEO, and he has that guy's ear, so we can get our message across to help them make their message, their products a little better for us. Great. We're going to do a premiere. We're going to do some live questioning. We're going to address the glove issue and what's happening, what's really happening with gloves around the world within our industry. Hopefully have a few suggestions, things that you could do to, help with the problems we are all having right now. It's getting insane, and it's probably going to get worse. So we'll see what he has to say. And again, that's February 15th, James Gaithier. And those are the next two we have lined up. I might squeeze something in the middle here, just be sort of impromptu, but